don't remember what's wrong and what's right. The world is dead, but we stay. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die. And we surrounded by the night. We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon light. Shadows in the neon. We are We are just shadows. It's supposed to be that we die. It doesn't matter if there is no light anymore, no light anymore. 'Cause we are born as living fights. We live to die. We live to die. And we surrounded by the night. We live to die. We are shadows in the neon light. We are shadows in the neon light.
Stub filled.
Shadows in the neon. We are
M structure runs down, it breaks, and then we got like this little fake head and shoulders pattern type of thing. And then it kind of drops that way. So this one was really close. Even this area, right? If we just tag this area right next to it, right? They probably widened the spread and activated some long orders with these two price points. But this actual setup wasn't the cleanest. If I'm looking at this outside the band here, this is why I didn't count this one. Like out of the four, I didn't count GU because it looks close, but this actually is not it. There's a few things missing with this. But super close, right? Like you can kind of still see that same pattern looking a little bit. This might set up for what I call the ID50 move. We can kind of look at this on a 15-minute chart. And maybe, right? Like just maybe this was set up. So I'll put an alert here. I didn't like the first move. And the cool thing about my setup is if you don't like the first move, you can wait and see if the second move presents. And hopefully that one's a little bit clearer.
Market's open.
Yeah. Patience.
Yeah, in this particular case, kind of ugly, to be honest. So this is kind of a pass. And then lastly, we have GJ. What is GJ doing? Yeah, so GJ is a little funky too. I'm looking, as I mentioned, I'm looking for longs for this. I'm sorry, shorts. I don't want this to keep going up, right? Like, although this was, yeah, see, this looks really funny when I'm looking at this. So we have our 5,200 cross here that's telling me, we should be going long. We're looking for W's off the 200. If you really look at this, it's just funky looking. Like, I'm not gonna make anything up, right? If you were trying to take trades on this, you would have been looking for shorts right here, not longs, and that's what I don't like. It kind of give you mixed signals here. One saying long, it's also saying short. When it does that, I typically just stay away from it.
All right.
Now, one could argue and say, well, what about this, Mike? Does this not count? Does this not count as a W here off the 200 and going long?
From here to here.
Maybe. Like
I had it way up there.
It looks a little funky. I wouldn't touch this, and if I did, I would put very little risk on it.
Order filled.
A quarter. But at that point, for me, there's almost no point in taking the trade. I don't have enough confidence in the trade to put such little risk on. So I'm typically putting half or a quarter. I'm sorry, 3/4 or the full 1%. So if I have to say it's close and I'll put a quarter on, that's not good enough for me. I'd rather just watch it and see what happens.
All right.
Depends on how bored you are.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, exactly. Like if I'm just sitting there twiddling my fingers, maybe I'll throw a quarter on or something. But
Right.
I don't really like
Guys,
it.
Robert saying good morning. Good morning,
Morning,
Robert.
Robert.
You had a great weekend.
Hey,
Stop filled.
good. We are counting fingers over here. We gotta make sure you still got all 10 of your fingers.
I saw a X-ray picture on
So,
Facebook.
Yep, that's pretty much it for me, guys.
People's fingers.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, happy 4th of July or something.
Absolutely.
And you got all these pictures with mangled hands. Imagine how painful that must be.
Couldn't imagine. Yeah, it's funny because me and my nephew, we used to hold them in our fingers like firecrackers. Because if you hold the butt of it and light it, it forces it out. So you can actually hold the end of a firecracker and blow it off. But if you don't squeeze it hard enough, you're going to lose a finger. So we were just young and silly. So we would do that. We even got brave enough to where we would stick the butt of it in our teeth and then light it, blow it out. Yeah.
I sometimes wonder why I'm still alive or how am I still
I'm surprised I have my face and my fingers for that matter, but
things were just different back then, Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. And this was after I graduated high school too. So I still should have known better at that point, but anyway. Well, if we take a look at, let me just go ahead and pull up my screen. We'll take a look at the economic calendar real quick and kind of talk about a couple things on it. All right. So over the weekend, OPEC, they did get together. They decided to some oil production hikes. So it'll be an interesting week to see how oil works. It looks like 548,000 per day increase. So looks like they're really ramping up a little bit on the oil front. I don't trade oil. I just like to always keep an eye on it. Right. Just to see, because it's kind of an indicator on certain things that we trade. So going back to my calendar here. The main thing I'm keeping an eye on today is the Australia cash rate. They are projected to drop rates by 25 basis points. So I have got some alerts set on a couple different Aussie pairs throughout the course of the day. So as far as the fundamental and sentiment, my favorite one is Euro Aussie dollar. So I'm going to be looking for a potential long buy there. And I'll take a look at some zones here in a moment. But other than that, the Aussie dollar, Swiss dollar for a potential short sell. The fundamentals are really favoring the Swiss over the Aussie on that. So, yeah, just looking to try to project and take advantage of that rate drop. That's really the strongest fundamental and sentiment pairs I'm looking at to potentially take advantage of that. So, going back real quick to the calendar, though. And tomorrow we got the same thing for New Zealand, except they're projected to keep their rates the same. So, so yeah, I mean, pretty much a nothing burger, but you'll still see a spike there in volatility in and around that time. Yeah, FOMC minutes on Wednesday, and then your basic unemployment info to wrap out the week or to end out the week, and then British pound has a GDP report coming out. So, yeah, that's the main thing I'm following today is just looking to see how price, works today ahead of that Australia cash rate. But if I flip on over to my chart, and I'm going to take a look firstly at that Euro Aussie dollar potential trade. So let's see what we got down here. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's just been a nice steady uptrend over the last several weeks. And then if we're looking at it on a 4-hour time frame, I did actually write up this demand zone right here, this demand zone candle. So really nice strong move out of that area. It's also pretty much at a former point of resistance right there. So yeah, break resistance, turn into support right there. So I got my alert set just ahead of that. And as always, we'll see if price gets down there today. I mean, it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty confident. So we'll see how it reacts from there. Obviously look for some type of a bullish engulfing or candle with a wick coming out of that with some volume. That'll be the goal. I'd like to be, I mean, obviously, if I get into a trade with the Aussie dollar, I prefer to do it early in the day because for here in the U.S. anyway, that report doesn't come out till 11:30 Central Time where I'm at, PM. So I would like ideally to see, price come down and then be up here by the time that report comes out. That's what ideally, because what I'd like to have is a little bit of a buffer zone because there's obviously going to be some volatility throughout that area. So if I get all the way down here though, and it gets chewed through most of the zone, I'll probably avoid it. Just better not to take chances on a high volatility event like that. But yeah, that's ultimately, if I have a crystal ball and a wish list, I'd like to see price come down intraday and get up to this area at least by the time that report releases, because I mean, that should, as long as they drop the rates, it should give it a nice spike upward and tag me out at a profit. So, but yeah, that's the main Aussie pair I'm looking at. And then the other one for the short sale was the Aussie Swiss. So let's take a quick look at that. Let's see here. I know that one is a little bit lower on the ATR scale. It's only 44 pips of movement on average throughout the day. So definitely one of my least favorites, but obviously with that report release is going to come a spike in volatility. So realistically, I don't think it's going to get all the way up there to this 4-hour supply zone candle I've got, like I drew up last week. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see, how it kind of reacts around these more near-term zones. Now, what I would prefer to see if I were to be interested in this area here, because you look at that gigantic red candle down there at the bottom. That's that green candle right there before the decrease or the down move. So it's not a huge move. I would prefer.
I'm sorry, but I have to take a trade.
Go ahead.
Off the bat, that'll probably be it for me.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys that. Apologies.
No, jump on. It's
I'm on a roll, and then I come and interrupt you, as always.
No,
all right, so I'll just quickly show my execution screen. I'm sitting here on a 10-minute. I'll go back to my trading view chart. I'm just showing that I literally just got into a trade as I interrupted you there. Going long. I don't know if you guys remember last week. Took a really nice long trade here. I think that was, when was that? Thursday last week. Yeah. Basically catching that really nice AM strong move into the PM on a NASDAQ. And I've got a pitchfork drawn here. I don't really like drawing it too much on this platform, but it does go to show how well it also works to use these pitchfork lines as targets, because I had my final target slightly at that stage below the upper median line, and price eventually reached it and then turned lower again. All right, so that is just to show you I'm in that trade. Still early days. What it is I'm looking at
we can't see your screen, Rich.
Should be coming up now. Why is it not showing up?
Okay, it's coming up now. Now we can see it.
There we go. I did click it. It was showing on my side. Anyway, yeah, let me just quickly show you the. Did you even see this screen?
Not that one. Last week, I think you showed it. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, here shows I'm in a trade. I've got my stop loss a little bit wider than I normally have it. I'm not trading too many lots here, just to hide it below these clusters of lows here in case price should continue lower.
See what happens, guys.
But we had a move lower back into this median line that I've been sloping to the upside since this move started. Obviously, last week we had a really impulsive, strong move to the upside. And again, last week I had those use those median lines as basically targets. And as price also hit this upper red, or what we call a warning line, we eventually got that drop lower again. So I'm using a bit of a tighter or a larger stop today and reducing my lot size, just because there is still a possibility that price might want to run these clusters of lows here that formed on Friday. What's also interesting here is there was a gap higher, and price has now filled that gap as well. Also coinciding with, again, hitting one of my angled median lines. So I'm hoping that price will continue higher. Target-wise, I'm looking at just over a 1-to-2 risk-reward ratio over there. And if you have to look at the analysis side of things, hopefully that's popping up now. Here we go. We'll see that price has run the London session lows as well as the Asian session lows. But while it did that, it created a bearish fair value gap. Not on the 5, so I'm being quite aggressive. Order filled. As price took out those lows, and it then became an inverted fair value gap, right? As price broke above it.
It could also break.
So that is the setup. One thing more before I hand things back to you.
Which one is it?
If we look here at the 5-minute time frame, I've spreaded the SPX, which is the ES, over the price action of the NASDAQ. We can see here that at these lows that occurred during the London session, you know, obviously there were lows during that time on the ES as well. But as price took out these current lows from the London and the Asian session, price is currently at a higher low, right? So it didn't punch new lows as yet, or just yet. So that's the setup. It's called a smart SMT divergence, basically, where you have two highly correlated markets that momentarily divert from each other. And that is typically leads to a nice reversal. So, yeah, let's hope the trade works out. And again, I'm still worried that price might take out these clusters of lows that occurred on Friday, but I'll be perfectly fine. My stop is giving price action relatively enough a space to move around. So if we do make a move higher from here, and I obviously don't get stopped out, and we take out the most recent high for today.
What happens if I press
which was actually around about 22,827. This is on the NASDAQ on the TFD side, right? So it might differ from the future side. Then I'll consider tightening that stop a little bit more. So that's the setup. Yeah, again, sorry for interrupting there, but it happened very quickly. So hopefully it's a smash and grab type of setup where things just run to target and things are over and not having to wait too long. But that's it.
So, and you're looking for those divergences, those temporary ones on the 5-minute time frame.
Sometimes they do not pop up there. and you can go to a smaller time frame. Sometimes if you have, let's say, a low in the NASDAQ, you have another lower low at, let's say, 3-4 hours down the line, then it makes sense to actually look at a higher time frame if it's not popping up on a smaller time frame, like a 15-minute. And
Gotcha.
if you have divergence there, then, but it's very important. Price needs to run previous levels, right? So we assuming that we might be getting a liquidity run or liquidity grab or whatever the case might be. And then you want to spot that SMT. Otherwise, there will be instances where this occurs from time to time. So obviously level needs to be run first. Is it a London session high, low, Asia high, low, previous day highs, lows, or whatever the case might be? Did we get that sort of a bearish fair value gap that formed as price run those lows or highs? And if price then reverses breaks, it becomes inverse, and you have an SMT, then that's typically the setup to take. So let's hope it works out.
Get it. Well, I had an alert hit.
All right,
Nice.
so let's pass it back to you, Tiger.
Sounds good. I just had an alert hit on the dollar Japanese yen.
Shouldn't have missed out. See, this is what we were
So
talking about.
as soon as that
last time.
pops up,
Come up now. There we go.
there we go. So yeah, for dollar Japanese yen, looking at the fundamentals and the sentiment, well, I'm looking at a -5. So -5 or lower is bearish. Yeah, quite a bit of it's the seasonality and the trend. Of course, that GDP report obviously hurts the US dollar. So yeah, I did just hit the zone on a 1 hour time frame. So back here in time, I had this green candle up before a big old drop down. So yeah, it just dinged me. And so basically what I'm going to do from this point is just look for a nice 15-minute candle, a bearish candle. Now that it's touched, I'd like to see some volume spike come in as well. So yeah, that just basically tells me to keep an eye on it. Look at it. I mean, on the the 5, you can look at it on a 5, a 10, a 15-minute. I like the 15 as far as that confirmation candle coming out of it. So that's what I like about using that candle, because if I'm out, I'm away from my house, going to the store or something like that, and that alert hits, it just tells me you got 15 minutes to get home to make a decision.
Right. I love that.
Yeah. So that's why I love the 15-minute. And plus, that's plenty of time to see if,
Look at that,
if the big
guys.
banks are
Look at that.
stepping in, throwing the volume in there. So, yeah, that
Prime
zone is, I mean, it's not a
staying in
big
the
zone.
trade.
It's only, what do we got here? It's like about 20 pips. So it's decent
Prime
enough. So,
example.
yeah. So here over the course of the next 15 minutes, I just want to see how see if I can get a nice bearish candle coming out of that. Preferably to see it engulf the previous candle, get some volume, and then we may look to take a momentum trade at that point, to the downside, and then might even, and plus that'll increase my my range a little bit. So from 20 pips to maybe 30 or 33 pips or something like that. Ultimately, I like those 30 pip, 40 pips. So, yeah.
Target
We'll
filled.
just keep an eye on this one for a little while. Other alerts I have set, I do have one on the Euro Japanese yen on a 15-minute time frame as well. Got a nice demand zone there. Had 3 big old candles rolling out of it with some pretty decent volume coming out of it as well. So yeah, would love to reset that a little bit. Yeah, would just love to see price come down. Or buy to the long side. So that's another one I've got set for the Euro Japanese yen. It's also given me a bullish rating of a 5 on my fundamental, on my edge finder. So that's supporting the narrative as well. Euro dollar, really nice uptrend. Let's see, on my edge finder, I am getting a score of an 8, a bullish score of an 8 So the big banks definitely favored the euro over the U.S. dollar on Friday's COT. Actually, did the COT report come out? It was a holiday, wasn't it? Let's do this.
Yeah.
Um,
Was that Friday, you saying?
Yeah, typically Friday around 3 or so, 3:30 Central.
No. It wasn't.
No. Okay, so it's not yet been updated because it last updated on June 7th. So it should be midday or afternoon today. I think that's typically what they do on the holidays. They just wait till the day after the business day after the holidays. So yeah, we're still looking at old data here.
Right now.
What else I got? But still, I mean, you know, it's still overall, it's still giving me a buy signal. So on the in and around the 38.2 level on the 1
Order
hour,
filled.
I do have a demand zone candle down here. I don't like how price left and then kind of came back and started flirting with it. So definitely if price hits into that area, yeah, it'd have to be a really good looking 15-minute candle for me to be interested in it. Because otherwise, I would prefer it to come back, maybe test that 61.8 level, because I do have a pretty good 4-hour demand zone down there. On a 4-hour, that's a red candle going down. I wish that didn't color it in, but it does. So turning off my order block tool, you can see red candle down, and we had 3 really nice candles coming out of that. So right on the 61.8 level, also on a former resistance point. So yeah, pretty good one there. But I still want to keep an eye. I mean, see what it does when it comes back to the 38.2 level. I mean, maybe even have a stop under this area. So now again, and this might take a week or so to work its way out. Just like I mentioned last week, all the major dollar pairs except for the Aussie dollar obviously bounced into those overheads areas of resistance. So that's why I prefer to have a little bit deeper of a retracement into the 61.8 level, but we'll still see what kind of 15-minute candle we get if it hits that 38.2 zone. Time will tell on that. Let's see here. See what my dollar.
Hey James, Axis FX.
Hello. I just wanted to take another quick look at that, but it's still dojiing out at the moment. Aussie dollar, Swiss franc. I have a bearish score of a -8. So that's a pretty good short sell opportunity from a fundamental point of view. Nice steady decline overall. It's currently in the middle of a daily demand zone candle, as you can see. So ultimately, if I were to have any interest in it, kind of like what I mentioned earlier, I want to see price. I would prefer to see price. Now it's not going to happen before the interest rate hike necessarily, or decline, I should say. But I would like to see price close under that zone, showing that it took out all those unfilled orders on a daily time frame before coming up to either this zone or this zone, or even as high as this zone. But that's more of a longer time frame. We'll see what kind of volatility comes out of that interest rate decline that they're about to do later. Obviously, the euro, Aussie dollar, I've already went over that. That's my favorite one. That's set up number 1 in my book for the day as soon as it comes back.
Tiger, you got a quick question there from Robert.
Oh, my goodness.
He wants to know if you're actually showing him a chart, or what is it that you're showing?
I'm sorry. I totally forgot to move it over. My bad on that.
It's Monday morning, guys. It's Monday morning.
It is. Anyway,
We'll warm up some stage.
What I was showing, sorry about that. Aussie dollar Swiss. So you guys see my daily demand zone over here, and it's currently in the middle of it, right? So I ultimately would like to see price close below that before looking at a short opportunity, because that's telling me that it's taken out the higher time frame unfilled orders that are in that area, in that zone to the left. So yeah, that would make me feel more comfortable about looking at flirting with either this zone or this zone here. But if it doesn't and it comes all the way up, I would feel more comfortable taking this supply zone up here for a short sell opportunity. So, all right. So yeah, that's just a little bit about that. I like to to me, a zone, whether it's a supply or demand zone, to me, what makes it strong is if it's strong enough to take out a former supply or demand, overhead, whatever. If it's a demand zone, I want to see it take out a supply zone. If it's a supply zone, I'm trying to short sell, and I want to see it take out a demand before ultimately coming back, because that shows gusto, that strength. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm the same exact way, right? Like same exact way with my patterns. If I want to go long, I want to see it hit short first and then go long. If I want to go short, I want to see it hit stops high first and then go short. So same concept, really.
Yeah, I thought I heard you say that earlier. So, yep. No, it's just, I mean, it's just an easy way to test how strong it is. If it's not strong enough to take out a former, supplier demand, support and resistance, then is it really that good of a zone at all?
Right.
So,
right.
For sure.
And if that's the case, it wouldn't set up at all. Like kind of like my GN trade, right? Like it's I wanted to go short. It took out stops high, but it never went short. It just kept rising. And that's the key indicator right there.
Yeah. And a naked chart is all you need for that. But yeah. So okay, so I've already went over the Euro Aussie dollar. Sorry, my chart was off the screen earlier, but yeah, that's my number one setup. I'm just wanting to get a nice pullback into this area, see what we can see what kind of a confirmation we can get coming out of there. But other than that, I did have the New Zealand dollar, US dollar on my watch list today as well. It's given me a score of a 5. Here it is, a 4 hour. So at the 61.8 level on a 1 hour time frame, no, it's a 2 hour time frame. You have a nice looking demand zone candle here. So that might hit pretty soon today. So, that's probably my second favorite one of the day. Yep, right on it. I mean, it's looking good. So, I'd like to see the RSI. What's that?
The 61.8.
Yeah, right here, that yellow. The yellow one there. Yep.
Looked a little crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to see my RSI start to curl up as well. I'd like to see it start to curl. That would help. That would tell me that the momentum is actually shifting. So,
let's find out.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the New Zealand dollar. What else did I have over here? Dollar Swiss. I know you were going over that one. Oh, look at that. I still got my old fib levels from before I changed my colors. Dollar Swiss on a fundamental level for me is given a score of -9. So this is my strongest bearish pair when we're looking at the sentiment and the fundamentals. I'll just move over here real quick. Yeah, all the way at the bottom, -9. So let me just move it to the top. So yeah, obviously the jury's still out on the COT report. We don't know that until later today, but yeah, I mean, from the technical.
So will that come out today now because Friday was a public holiday?
Yes. Yeah, typically that's what they do. Typically, if it's a holiday, it typically comes out the next business day. Afternoon US time anyway. So yeah, I'll be obviously staying on top of that as soon as it hits and see how it affects all my pairs. But
now this would
just hasn't been. I mean, the Swiss franc's just been looking better than the dollar when you're looking at all the reports, the employment, the CPI, the trend, everything. So if I flip back on over here to my dollar Swiss franc, it's another one that obviously is bouncing out of that higher time frame demand zone from way back when. And it's further back than I thought. Way back here. Where the heck's it at? There it is. So there's a daily demand zone in that area.
I just wanted to pull the trigger on that just to get the.
But if we're looking at it,
target filled.
Order filled.
To that.
4 hour.
Twice.
There's a 1 hour, 30 minute, 15.
Definitely would have been up.
There we go. So there's a 15-minute candle. Well, I count that as a 15-minute candle. The algorithm doesn't, but I do. So I'm going to look at that area right there, intraday, see if we can get some type of pullback. for a smaller, for a demand zone buy on a smaller time frame. So I'm going to set me an alert there. Yeah, we'll just do that. 50% retracement if we're looking at this.
Alerts.
Sir, 50% if we set a fib from this swing low to swing high. So I like that as well. Little bit of former resistance here. Okay, becomes support. So yeah, that one looks like a pretty nice setup. So now that I'm on a smaller time frame, I'll probably just look at like a 5-minute candle, bullish candle coming out of this. 5-minute engulfing, 5-minute tail. Get some pretty good, volume spike, and that might be a good one to ride up to this area. So
Cool.
something like that. Just take 15, 20, 25 pips. Just something simple. So we'll see how that one turns out. I guess I better put that on the zone, the proximal line there. Sometimes you got to zoom in to hit it. Because I'm so anal. I'm so exact. I got to hit it right on my line. Now, when I'm out away from home, sometimes I'll set it.
I feel it though.
If it's one I'm super excited about, I'll set my alerts a little higher so that if I'm away from home, I can get home before it hits it. So, yeah, we'll set that there.
Right.
And then I had the Swiss Japanese yen. I have an alert set on here. Let's go back up to my higher time frame. Well, that's got a lot on here. 2 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute. So on a 30-minute, I got a demand zone candle down here. I really like this area because of the volume that came out of it. That big red volume bar coming out.
Well,
so that's a really nice looking zone on a 30-minute time frame. So definitely going to be looking at that. Now, if we look a little higher up on a smaller time frame, pretty nice move here, so we can drill down and see. Okay, a nice little 15-minute demand zone candle there. 1, 2, 3 green candles coming out. Yeah, I'm going to set an alert there as well. We'll see if we can get some intraday action in this area. Get a 5-minute candle coming out of it with some volume, and we may look to take a stab at that one. Now, that's the main ones I'm watching at the moment. Again, we've got the dollar Japanese yen that has hit on a 15-minute time frame. So let's see. Let me just zoom in a little bit here. So this was the 1 hour supply zone.
We got to pay attention, actually, what we are doing.
I'm just not too happy with the candle yet. It doesn't really excite me. So, as far as something like this, probably look to break a small term uptrend. So if I put let's see what that does. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little volume coming in, a little bit higher volume than the previous candles, but I prefer to see something like a 2x the previous couple candles. But yeah, I'm just going to mainly keep an eye on this one for now. And if we can break that white line, I might take a momentum trade to the short sell side.
To the south.
To the south. Yeah, so that's basically while we're on stream. That's what I'll keep an eye on the side lines. But other than that, I am still in a couple other trades from last week. There are obviously some longer term ones. I got this pound Swiss short sell because it was less than a -5 on my edge finder. So bounced in nicely on Thursday, I believe it was, and came down. And so it's just kind of dancing around. I do have a stop loss above this resistance point back here. I could have kept it tight with a stop loss, just above the supply zone, but I liked the way all this was holding price each time it came up. So I just decided to make it a little wider. I threw my stop loss above that to see if we can get a nice move. Again, this was one that's, probably about a week or so in play. We'll see if it stays up in a week. Bitcoin. Now this one, I broke my rules on the fundamental side, so it was only giving me a score of a 2. No, it was a score of a 3 actually. So, but I still liked the zone. If I look at it on a, well, I keep forgetting this pattern doesn't have the 2 hour, but yeah, my trading view, that's a 2 hour, demand zone candle with some nice price coming out. So, I mean, it bounced in nicely and came out, just kind of went sideways and went up, went down. So, yeah, we'll just see how this one goes over the first few days of the week for Bitcoin. But yeah, I just really like
the one you took last week, right?
What's that?
When was this?
I got
you took last week.
on Friday.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I think
go.
I think I took it. Yeah, I did take it on. No, I took it just after the stream, actually. Yeah, it looks like
Gotcha.
1600, so around 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Because basically, I was waiting to get get some kind of a nice exit candle. But let me see what I did here. Oh yeah, so yeah, I basically got in there and started dancing around sideways for a while, and I just was looking for a momentum exit, like an exit of the contraction point. So yeah, that's where I got in there, and it just went sideways. But yeah, we've seen a little bit of a spike up in it,
We're going at.
and then a spike down. So we'll see. I mean, I do like that we had that nice candle on a 1 hour time frame anyway with a tail. So hopefully it'll give us a good spike up.
Let's get in.
So we'll see how that plays out. And then the only other trade I'm in at the moment is still that Nikkei trade from last week. So yeah,
You're still in there.
Looking very similar to the Bitcoin. It's just kind of going sideways. It's big, but yeah, that's like I said, normally on some of these higher time frames, I'm in trades for a week and a half. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking at the moment. Keeping an eye on all those alerts.
Nice. Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
2930.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
Gotta love those alerts.
Yeah. And I forgot I had a couple things I was gonna mention. So obviously on Friday they did sign up. President Trump did sign the big beautiful bill. So we are now 2 days away from the Trump tariff deadline. So that 90-day pause is about to be over.
Time is it?
Yeah, so he started, I believe yesterday, they started sending out letters to various countries just saying, hey, look, this is going to be your tariff. Obviously we can still make a deal, but it's possible to make 100 and whatever 50 deals in 90 days. So
we're just gonna need to
it's going to be interesting to see how the markets react to this. But yeah, the deadline is Wednesday U.S. time. So, but those tariffs are going to start officially on August 1st. So they're not going to just start right away. They basically, that's the end of the 90 days to make the deal. So who knows?
Filled.
They say that should push a lot of them to, get to the table to start making some deals when they start seeing all those tariffs they're having to spend. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting period to see how that works out, to see how the big beautiful bill works through the system. And then the only other thing here in the U.S., we did have some pretty bad flooding in Texas. On Friday, Saturday, and there's like 85 people that have been killed from it. So it's a pretty sad situation, to be honest with you. It may affect some local markets, maybe obviously the insurance and some of their crops and maybe even some of their LNG production, but I don't think that's going to do anything worldwide, but just more so the local markets. Been hit pretty hard, so keep Texas in your thoughts.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all I got for that.
Cool. Yeah, that was pretty terrible news. I mean, then those floods just happened out of nowhere. It's very, very quickly.
They said it went 27 feet in 45 minutes. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. Never heard anything like this. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael,
they had things in Atlanta maybe a few weeks ago.
Atlanta?
Oh, what's that?
Oh, no. I was just saying, do you have something to show us? Let's just talk.
Oh, no, Yeah, nothing too much. My UF trade looks like it took me out at break even.
Let's go.
So,
Come on.
not break even, but I mean like plus. I was like plus 40%. So
We're actually making
made a little
please.
bit off of that.
Please, oh,
I'll go
please.
share my screen again here.
Oh, please.
Not too much.
Please break through the upside. Let's see
where's
a break
this?
to
Oh,
the
here it is.
upside. Come on. Let's range
So yeah,
upward.
not too much. You
Ranging
kind of
upwards
just
would be really nice right now, guys.
fell on back. Which this is exactly why I trail my stops, right? Fact,
Range up.
this move to happen at this 800,
Ouch, that does not
200
look good.
EMA. Now, although it did close above it, what would have been a better move is for this red candle to close above this one, right? If it could have closed above this space, that would have gave me a little bit more confidence that it can keep going. But yeah, once we got this engulfing pattern, candlestick pattern that engulfed this last green candle, yeah, this one's done basically. And I had my stops right
Connection
slightly
lost.
below this
Or
these two little
down.
wicks, and it just bumped me out. So that's really it. Nothing too major. I expect, like literally as soon as it gets to this 200 EMA, this is like the next point that it could bounce off of. Even though I did have this up here,
No.
I expected it to go either here or to here.
And I like your
And you
message.
can see
that
if it went
TP's
here, it beats it by. Yeah, I love it. That's my favorite message. I love getting that message on my watch.
Mona Lisa's TP smack.
Cha-ching.
That's like the lingo, right? So like, yep, TP smack, ching ching. That's all I hear. That's all I hear when I get that message.
Come
I'm
on.
like, oh,
Good stuff.
I just got paid. And I know
Look like you got
same thing
lifesavers
happened
behind
today. Oh yeah, I got these. So I keep
Green
these
lights.
lights on for. Yeah, so Sam had them in his session, like he has them in his office, and if they're green, that means he's up for the day. If they're red, that means he's down.
Ah,
I was like, I like that. I'm gonna buy. Yeah.
Okay.
I said, I'm gonna buy me some of those. So I got them.
Yep.
And, they like
It's
some
on my
LED
list
lights.
now.
Put 'em-
Yeah. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to steal that.
So the green is I'm up for the day.
Dang, that was fast.
The red is I'm down. And then the blue is I haven't taken any trades. You can do this right from your phone too. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, it's got an app for that. Okay.
Yep. It's a whole little app and everything.
Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I got
Very
that idea
colourful,
from
my
Sam.
chart.
Yeah.
But slightly a negative here, but I'm like I said, I'm probably thinking price is gonna
Stop
take
filled.
out these
Stop
custom
filled.
lows here from Friday. Maybe. But that is pretty much the risk reward ratio on there. Stop loss below those clusters. Take profit. Pretty much at all-time highs, right? So willing
Yeah.
to hold this trade for a while, did it do its thing. What I wanted to do is just quickly show you on a higher time frame, bit of a cleaner chart. The NASDAQ. Again, I don't know if you guys remember, I
We
drew
were
these
above like $10 or something like that.
pitchfork lines
9 something.
from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
This is basically the data for the
So
NASDAQ.
good
Time
day,
source.
you know?
These angular lines served really well for a very long time to act as support and resistance. And by the way, before I go on, if you click and hold your chart to pan around, does that box open there? It's like a new feature on TradingView. You see this box?
Yeah. It's probably just a setting because I'd have
And if
one
I
show
do
on.
that, then I can't pan. So it
Then
must
you
be a
can't-
setting, and it's irritating as hell. But
Oh yeah. No, I think that because
you
I
see, you
got
can't
annoyed
drag
by
anymore when it pops up.
Yeah, there should be a setting on here because I don't have it. I got rid of it.
Oh, you know what? Mine just
It
did
must
it
be a
too.
setting because I mean that it's unacceptable.
Mine just did it too.
Sometimes you open
Yeah.
trading view just after a weekend, it's like 50 new updates. I can never keep up.
Yeah, mine's not doing it.
You guys get
I'm
the
gonna
same
take
thing?
that.
No, mine's not.
Yeah, mine does.
You're
Now
special.
we're back in it.
I feel like
Jeebers.
that's something I shut
I think
off
we're a
on, but I,
little low on
I don't like the distraction.
Must
volume
be.
there, but you know what?
No, that's just, you know, when you get used to something and all of a sudden you have to deal with something, you don't know how to fix it. It sucks. But anyway,
We hate change.
we'll figure it out. Let me know if you can figure it out, Michael. I'll go on with the analysis here. So we're looking at a weekly time frame. Obviously, a very high time frame for the NASDAQ. This was that pump 2 weeks ago. Last week, also a very strong pump to the upside. And then we have last week's highs. Obviously, that could be a potential area price might gravitate towards. Then we have this dashed red line running to the upside here. Since I'm using the longer term pitchforks and those angles, they make for really good potential targets to the upside as well as the downside. So the upside, should price break above last week's high, we're looking at potentially I would say a attainable target of 23,218. To the downside, I'm going to go to lower time frames to explain what these boxes are here. We have this upward sloping angular line, which is obviously lower down, very close to last week's low at
Alright, you think we're gonna come back down for a little sec?
22,637, which is obviously to the downside a potential area which could also be hit. That being said, with a strong bullish price action that we've obviously been seeing for some time now,
Touched the bottom 3 times.
Oh man.
if I go to a smaller time frame, like the 4 hours, quite a large time frame in my,
Alright, now we'll go for the
analysis.
upside.
Price formed prior to this
Looks
peak
like
last
it's
week
bouncing.
a pretty large fair value gap, and it's been mitigated already. So it looks a little bit weak in my opinion, right? So what we could be seeing here, there's another one that's not been mitigated, lower down. See this one over here? Prior to this strong run to the upside. Just get my path tool out. So if we're going to head lower, I'll probably take a stop on that.
Order
trade
filled.
line.
filled.
Then the next area of interest would be this area, this fair value gap, and then see if we can get a bounce higher and then trade back to the upside again. Right?
Come on, give me.
So price
Give
has
me the,
tested this fair value
range
gap
up,
multiple
please.
times. It looks pretty weak.
Range up,
who knows if
please.
it's going to hold.
know you wanna
Also, just
range
looking
up.
left, we have these previous highs that were set in June.
Don't
So
take
it
me
might
out.
be acting as a bit of support as
Range
well.
up.
So for the
No.
trade I'm currently in, I'm
Range up.
obviously hoping for more upside, but again, it wouldn't be a bad thing if price actually moves a little bit lower. I would then obviously get stopped out, but then try again, get in at a better area lower down that will potentially just
Stop
maximize
filled.
the
Stop
reward
filled.
potential on trading day. And in that case, I'll probably try to swing trade it back to the upside again and do it that way. So that's just a little
Wow, that
bit
came down pretty
of
fast, but we were up a little
higher
bit.
time frame analysis. I do have a smaller pitchfork
Fake out for a sec.
that I've run to the upside here.
Now, it might bounce here,
Order
Order
filled.
filled.
is what I'm
And I
thinking.
should probably use a small time frame for that. Go. Let's get rid of some of these lines.
We'll see. Is it going to bounce off the middle?
And I've used the shift setting again, using this low, that high, this high low here. It's not a higher low yet because price failed to break above this previous high.
There we go.
Just to see where potentially more support can
See.
come in.
Let's see.
And it's been having a difficult time breaking or staying below, closing below this lower median. Again, we're also sitting with the clusters of lows.
Boom.
Where on the other time frame, I've got my stop. Not the other time frame, other workspace, sorry. Around about here. And it's also positioned lower below this 50% dash median line. But I do, this is the last sort of area. If price runs this potential liquidity run, it's obviously going to get very close to my stop loss might even take me out. And then it potentially price could make its way back up again, or we're just going to see sideways price action during the morning session, and maybe get a bit more action during the PM session. So anyway, I'm in the trade, a little bit of higher time frame analysis where price could potentially head towards. Again, still it's Monday, early days. Maybe things clear up a little bit later this week. It's like you said, Tiger, also with the tariff thing happening on Wednesday. Yeah, we might see some additional volatility. We maybe not factored these things in already. Who knows? Whose alert was that? Did you hear that? It went bing.
Yeah, the VIX is spiking a little bit, so not too bad, but it's trying to grind up a little bit.
Up.
Yeah, I got
we go.
in
See,
on a good
price
time.
continuously riding this lower median line, finding support. Hopefully that's enough for price to turn back up again. I sat through a bit of a small decline there, but price now above the entry level again.
I'm not gonna.
So let's see. Just a quick update for you guys. We've got 24 minutes past. We still have some time.
Yeah, I was actually
you want to show Tiger?
Yeah, I was gonna toss it on real quick to kind of show the NASDAQ as well, to show how you can. There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's, as I always say.
Should we have stayed in? I think we should have.
Because you're real good. Yeah, let me pull up. I want to go back to NASDAQ on the 4 hours. So yeah, so for you, you know, obviously, like you say, you look for the this fair value gap right here. So that's what you're looking for, and they work. Trust me, because like for me, I'm looking at that close to that same area, but I'm just looking at it on a 30-minute. This 30-minute dimension. Okay, so yeah, obviously by the way, mine is doing that box now.
Really?
So I reset. Yes, I reset my trading view and it's on there. So now I got to fix it. But anyway, yeah. So
it is everything.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking at the demand zone just above it. And then obviously there's your fair value gap, and then below that is another demand
showing
zone
you like this
here.
would be this first.
I can't tell you how many
then
times I've had price come down just before my demand zone, and then it run off and leave me. And that's because it's bouncing off of your fair value gap. So just on the other side of it, I'm sure you've had plenty of small losses where it's went through your fair value gap, but then turned around in your direction, right? So
yeah,
it's just interesting to see that both work, because sometimes it runs off.
Yes.
Sometimes it runs off and leaves me because it's fair value gap, and sometimes you get that small loss and whatever. So yeah, it's just interesting to see the different ways of buying in reasonably the same area.
I was trading more contracts.
But yeah, that's my favorite one at the moment is just above that. So we'll see what happens there.
Trading more contracts.
But it could very easily give me a small loss and give you the win, or it could drop through yours, give you a small loss, and then I might get in down here at this demand zone. So it's just interesting.
I would actually like it to pull back deeper.
Yeah.
Getting
for sure.
Better, more value type area.
Yeah, because I mean, I kind of drew up this little box, or not box, but this little pennant. So typically when it I hate that box. I'll get it fixed, but it's just so annoying.
You might have to Google that or write support or something, but yeah, it's not nice.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when it leaves that pennant. I mean, typically there's some volatility that picks up in and around those areas. So yeah, either my 30-minute demand zone or your fair value gap, or my other 30-minute candle below. We'll see which one it likes.
Cool.
There's my demand zone below that. So other than that, let's see if I'm getting any closer to my
Order filled.
Order filled.
Japanese yen. Yeah. So see, so far I'm just not getting a trigger candle. So just a good example of
Range of a
staying
day.
safe for the time being anyway, by not just setting a limit order. So like I said, I want to get a nice red candle that engulfs with some volume and maybe break that white trend line as well. So
Some additional confirmation.
yeah, that's just what I'm going to be paying attention to, at least the morning part of intraday here. So that's it.
Cool.
That is it.
Gotta love it.
All right, breakdown.
Yep. But no, I agree. I'm like you, Michael. I think you said it. You don't like trading, like placing Sunday orders. Like I don't either. I mean, there's some guys that are pretty good about buying and selling gaps. I played around with it a bit as far as like looking for the pro gaps versus the novice gap and all that. But yeah, there's just not enough volume. I mean, I don't know. I didn't have that much great success with, playing the gaps game on Sundays. So,
Right.
Yeah, I just prefer to
No,
wait.
I'm the same.
My favorite day to trade, in all honesty, because, for my higher time frame trades is Tuesdays, because usually Sunday opens, Monday, everything kind of sets itself up for the week. And then Tuesday is really where I've
I'm
seen
good
the
with
most
that,
success
guys.
personally on the
That's
longer
all
time
I'm
frame
saying. I don't
trades.
need to range all the way down.
That's
Tuesday,
just-
Wednesday, Thursday for me.
Is it
I don't like
good?
I don't like Sunday because
No.
it's just open. It's like you're too
But-
antsy to get back to the
Yeah.
charts to click the mouse.
Yeah,
So I don't really
my
like
bad.
Sundays.
Guys, we're
And then
making it
Monday for
happen.
me is like what they
We're
call
doing it.
trap move, right? Like they pretend they're gonna go one way and they go the other way, and then they do that same thing on Friday. They like fake it and hold the level and try to make you hold the trade over the weekend.
Yeah.
So Sunday, Monday, Friday, not a big fan of them. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I love them.
And the rug pull.
That's
Rug
my
pull
most
the
acceptable.
last 5 minutes of Friday.
Yeah.
Rug pull.
Rug pull Friday.
Yep.
Rug
That's
pull
a real
PM.
thing.
Yeah.
It is.
They master
Guys,
that.
just quickly, while we still have time, I'll just quickly run through crude oil before I pass things back there.
Yeah.
I still have this pitchfork on the weekly here, sloping to the downside. Price has been contained in the upper half between the medium line,
See, I don't
central
know what's
median
going
line,
on
and the
right
upper
here.
median line for quite some time, right? Since September 23. And there's been instances where it tried to get below the median line, it did,
Official
but it kept on bouncing
of
up
the
and
way
down, up
there.
and down, up and down. So it still tells me that price is respecting those angles. And again, with a little bit of market geometry, they make good targets or areas where you might expect support and resistance when price eventually gets back to them.
Ooh, looks like it is raining
And
down
if you
more now.
do this on like a weekly time frame, those angles will tend to continue working as a support and resistance for quite some time. Now, flipping to the downside here, you see I've got two levels, one at 68.60 and another one at 62.48. Last week we were sitting in pretty tight range. It was about a $3 range.
Yeah, we should just let
I
some.
think it was with you, Tiger. I said
Let 'em
I'll
run.
probably be interested in
Oh well.
getting involved in crude oil once it breaks out of that range. Now we've had that happen last week, pulled back into it, and now we're moving back to the upside. So I think a potential area of interest that price might move towards, therefore meaning that I would say if price doesn't reach it today, interested in going long crude oil if I can get some sort of a setup towards the 68.60 level. Ideally, it'd be nice if we can get a bit of a pullback. We can see here now that I'm just viewing this. But anyway, before I do that, talking about entries. This black line that I've got there, where I've got that 68.60 level, is something I'll do quite often. Is basically run a ray parallel to one of the median lines And very often, if you go and then just grab it and go paste it at areas previously, the price sort of like failed to get back to the median lines. They typically act as like internal supports and resistance, angular lines in this case, resistance. You can see quite many times it did that. So, I mean, price might just shoot back up from here, but if you're intraday trading, obviously, I kind of like getting out as soon as possible without, hoping and thumb sucking that price is actually going to, go back to this green line or the upper median line, I don't know, this week, next week, whatever the case might be. So there's nothing wrong if you get like a setup with a decent risk reward ratio, targeting an internal, in this case, resistance angle. That makes sense. So also gives me a really good idea of where price might be going, and because of that, it gives me a bit of a bias. And if I, for example,
Right. What is it ranging at now?
be sitting here with a nice big fair value gap here. If price could reverse lower at some stage before it reaches this area, do something like this, and then I'll target the 6860 level, and then obviously make sure that your risk reward is up to scratch, at least 1 to 2. Obviously depends where you place your stop on this, but that will be a potential setup to the upside. Now price could also within the next few coming days hit that level and reverse lower again, and if it does do that, then the next level to the downside would be 62.48, which could potentially be a downside if you were to choose to short crude oil. So that's just a little bit of analysis on crude oil for you guys.
Breaking down
what
more.
I'm going to do before I pass things back, how much time do we have? 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
I'm going to add a alert. Should price reach it, then I'll be interested in looking for setup to the upside. Right, so rather than staring at the charts all day long, let's see if we can get that alert hit without price reaching that upside target just yet. See if I can swing it back to the upside if we do get a little bit of a retracement. And that's pretty much it on crude oil, guys. Thought I'll just mention that we did get that breakout out of that range, pull back into it, and now it looks like it wants to move higher, at least over the short term.
Nice.
By how far, I don't know. But it's looking like the right side for me at the moment. Being bullish. Right.
Yep.
You have any other wisdom to share with us, Tiger?
Yeah. I'm still just watching the dollar Japanese yen, and I did have an alert hit on Dow as well. So we'll take a quick look at that before we get out of here. As soon as that pops up. Hurry up. There we go.
It took a while to get through. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, still just watching this area. As we're, I did have one candle that spiked in, had a pretty decent looking wick on the 5 minute. Kind of went down, went back up. It's kind of,
We're still ranging.
looking at creating this double top on a small time frame. They had another candle that wicked in and came out and rejected it, but it does. It's still trying to chew through. So we'll see how that works out. Ultimately I prefer looking at a good 15-minute candle, like I mentioned earlier. So But yeah, this is keeping me
Gotcha.
safe. This is why I like to have confirmation entries, price go in and you know, come out with some volume. So, but I did also have the Dow 30 alert that hit just a minute ago. So I just kind of drew in this more shorter term uptrend line here. And then on
What's the
a
gap called there? What's the fill the gap?
Yeah. So it closed the rest of that gap. Red candle before the spike up. This is obviously the Sunday or the Friday close, I should say, down here. So yeah, this is another one I'm going to look at. I'd like to see price come down and touch the line as well, because that would give me a little bit of confluence. So if and when it comes down to touch that line, yeah, same thing. Look for that magic 15-minute candle. I mean, sometimes I'll go down to a 5 or a 10-minute, you know, just to see if we have any strong bursts in those smaller ones. But yeah, I just like the 15. So I'm basically watching 15-minute candles on Dow 30 as well as the dollar Japanese yen right now. So we'll see which one wants to give me an opportunity.
Do you look at
Get
gold?
it
It
to
looks like, huh?
Gold, yeah,
Right.
yeah, sure. Let me just flip on over there. I know that they're in a tizzy as well because they don't know what's going on with these tariffs. So, yeah, I mean, just been kind of going, you know, on a higher time frame, just kind of sideways for the most part. But if I look at it on a fundamental level,
on ZE,
go over here and include my neutral because I know gold is neutral, I think, at the moment. Actually, let's just do this easier.
We're actually in this crazy.
Yeah, so see, gold's just giving me a score of a 1.
We could bounce.
Okay.
The employment numbers and the interest rate numbers are favoring the dollar, so that's why it's not favoring the gold. Same thing with trend and PMI. Like I said, that trend is
We are gonna.
it's
jump
just
back into the NASDAQ.
well, it's giving me. Let me see here. Let me look at this one more time. So it's giving me a -2 on trend. So if I flip back to my chart,
That almost looks like a triangle there on your
Is it
daily.
probably run to the bottom?
Yeah. Are you on the daily over here?
Yeah, symmetrical type of triangle.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
Or an ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it.
yeah. Because I mean, I drew this former trend line up, and now we're getting the same thing on the top, kind of coming. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, yeah, just from a sentimental and fundamental point of view, I personally don't like it. I mean, obviously, it's still given a +1. So, you know, I mean, if we're trying to fit a square into a circular hole, I mean, we could look at something like this. We got a little bit of a demand zone here for a potential bounce to the upside. But ultimately, me personally, I'm very strict with my set of rules on it's got to be a 5 or higher.
Yeah.
Or a -5 or lower if it's selling. Yeah. So but
Don't bend it because you're bored.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's definitely forming that kind of pennant or flag or whatever you want to call it on a higher time frame. So at some point in the next week or two, yeah, we might get a pretty nice spike up or down. We'll see how it goes. Those tariffs are gonna show their ugly head in some way, shape, or form. So
Show something.
yeah. Silver. I mean, silver is kind of the same. It's just kind of going sideways. Big giant contraction point on actually, if I flip that up to a weekly, yeah, you can see on a weekly, it's just if we're looking at just the master pattern, it's forming a contraction point on a weekly time frame. So, yeah, on a daily, there's one inside. So,
Right.
yeah, ultimately,
towards the middle.
you know, the upside is
It looks
definitely
like
the
it.
play, but it's just about timing. I mean, I personally would rather see price come up and close above all this first, then come down, find a demand zone or your fair value gap, you know, however you make the play. So, but yeah, silver, I think Yeah, silver's a 4. Silver's a score of a 4. So I only need one more good piece of news for silver to put that on my watch list to go to the chart in time of trade. So
Nice.
but yeah, and it could be the COT report when it comes out later.
Always opportunities, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Sometimes you just got to be
Absolutely.
patient and wait.
Absolutely.
Patience.
You
is
sit
a
on them
virtue.
hands, be patient. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Could take a walk, whatever you like
That's what
doing.
it's all about.
Set your alerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Just
got
don't
about
jump in early. That's the main thing.
2 minutes left, guys. To all our viewers, guys, if you have any questions, let us know. Still got 2 minutes to go.
I just want a 15-minute candle on my dollar jab. That's all I want. Give it to me, please.
Tom said, I love food references. Me too, except if I haven't had breakfast.
Yeah, me neither. I'm starving and ready to go at it after this. I normally have granola bars, but I realized I ran out yesterday. So
Yeah.
did a stream on an empty stomach, and I still had some energy.
Oh, nice. Good stuff. It's all the water you drink.
Robert,
Keeping
are you
hydrated.
bullish
It's
or
not
bearish?
moonshine like Troy said. It's real water.
Yeah.
But
Tiger, I think, was this question for Tiger, Robert? Are you bullish or bearish on the pound?
bearish.
Bearish.
Yeah, that's me personally, just because, again, if I just flip through real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Hurry up. Yeah, just going back, I mean, majors. Let's just do majors only. Yeah, I mean, it's a -5. So it just hasn't had the greatest seasonality trend or GDP numbers. Services PMI was negative for the dollar. The personal consumption expenditure report, interest rates. So yeah, you add all that up. The dollar has had recent good unemployment, PPI, and MPI, manufacturer PMI. But yeah, that's it. I mean, from a quick fundamental, from a quick technical, before we get out of here, let's get that over here. Yeah. I mean, that's currently where I'm at now. I'm just looking to get a 15-minute bearish engulfing or a candle with a tail, nice tail up top. So no man's land at the moment, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, that was quite a move high. Needs to pull back something, right? One would expect. But anyway, yeah, we've reached the end of the session, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, probably with you guys again.
Yep.
Can't wait seeing you again.
Same here. We're here all week.
To all our viewers, thanks for joining. Thanks for all the comments. Stick around for the next round of coaches if you can. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for attending. From my side, goodbye.
Yes. All right, guys.
Peace.
I'm Robert, Lola,
Peace.
Tiger, Richard.
Have a good one.
Easy, guys.
Tiger.
All right. Bye.
Ooh, spraying you back up to the middle. Anyways. Oh, we do have to go actually. Alright, peace, all the loves. That is it for the day. We are up. We are doing mighty fine. we're still a third of the way there to passing. That is a good thing. Hopefully we can continue on in that direction. We're gonna double check really quick, even though we do have to go where we are here. Let's go back on the minute real quick. Boom, boom. I do want to see what is happening here. Well, it looks like it's just chilling underneath, possibly going to go back up into the range. Quite likely that could happen. Depends if it breaks this here. But I want to get in on that trade contest of futures. But anyways, we're gonna leave it at that. We will $50-50. All right, all the loves, peace. Later.